And up next, we have Ian Scott with When Social Media Goes Wrong. Enjoy.
Wow, what a brilliant introduction. Firstly, good morning. I should say good afternoon. Big shout out to Lucy and to Jade, everyone working behind the scenes, all doing a fantastic job. Conversely, I'm going to be talking about when social media goes wrong. I'm going to get straight into it as well. So, this is about keeping a tab on ethics and playing it safe when we're talking about social media marketing. Now, for the purposes of strengthening a point that I want to make, I've divided junk social media messages into 4 types. And those 4 types look a little bit like this. Now, I say junk because generally these are not messages that we'd hope to receive and don't really add much value to our lives. Firstly, we've got the checker, the instant message that we always get once we start following a company or connect with someone on LinkedIn, and then we get bombarded. And the first thing that we want to do is kind of unsubscribe or unfollow. The second one is the follow-up to the follow-up to the follow-up. Did you receive my last message? Just following up on that previous DM. I know you're busy, but still, you're not busy enough to speak to me. Thirdly, it's the classic generic invitation to connect. We have synergies. Let's connect. Let's not. And lastly, the scam. Now, this comes in all kinds of shapes and sizes. They either want your money or they want access to your Facebook account, access to your Facebook page, your personal life, your bank account usually involves getting money from you. And there are plenty more. For example, here's one that I saw on a forum really recently, actually, a screenshot of a message asking for help. And this was sent to a Facebook page administrator, alerting them, apparently, that their page had been posting COVID-19 misinformation. You probably have spotted the obvious signs, things like your instead of you, and the misplaced comma. There are actually many more types of junk social media messages, including those you may get from LinkedIn, who think that it's the new Tinder. I haven't received those personally, not yet anyway, but I keep it to these 4 that we've just seen on the screen. In truth, marketing messages tend to follow a similar formula. It's the classic: I give you value and you will give me money. And people find value in many things. Let's take a look at the following slides. I want to demonstrate what I mean. Now, I've got you guys in the chat right here on my phone on the app. So if you want to get involved, you can have a guess now about how much you think a piece of toast which has the Virgin Mary's face scolded into it actually went for at auction. How much did someone buy that piece of toast actually for? You can put it in the chat if you want. I can't wait. I want to carry on. 15 grand. £15,000 someone was happy to pay for a piece of toast. Let's have a look at the next one. 1.5 kg of white truffle. Someone paid £165,000 for that. Lastly, and it's a big one, lunch with Warren Buffett. A staggering £1.3 million. I think if that was me, I'd be having packed lunches from now on. Certainly need to start saving. So we know people are willing to pay a lot for things. We know people are willing to pay more than they probably should. But the question is, should we, as marketeers, exploit this? That's the big question. Now, I want to make something really, really clear, that unethical marketing does not necessarily mean that it is a scam. That's really, really important. Scamming includes intention to harm, rid someone of their money or their dignity or even their life. And scams have done all of the above. So that's why it's not a scam. My name is Ian Scott. I am CEO and founder of Base Creative, which is a digital marketing agency based in Shoreditch, although most of our desks are just collecting dust at the moment. I'm also the host of Sharing Social London, which is a community of social media strategists, managers, founders, and all people involved in this industry. The next event is in 3 weeks. So if you're available, click on the link. Well, type that link in and give us a shout. Today, though, I want to recheck the practices that we're employing when running social media marketing campaigns, because it's becoming increasingly difficult to identify what actually is ethical and what is not. I want to look again, though, at junk messages. Now, this is actually an email. I'm going to go through an email that I received. The idea is exactly the same. So I opened up my inbox. This was about a year ago. And I genuinely received an email that we're about to read. Straight to me, it said the password is, and it revealed the password in the subject. I'm well aware of your password, and let's get directly to the point. I placed software on a sexually graphic site that you visited to have fun, and in brackets, you know what I mean. When you were watching videos, your browser gave me access to your screen and webcam, and after that, my software obtained all of your contacts from Messenger, from Facebook, as well as email. I then made a double screen video. The first part shows the video you are watching. You've got good taste. Thank you. And the second part shows the video of a webcam, and it's you. You have two solutions. First option is to ignore this message. Then I will send the video recordings to all of your personal contacts. What if you are in a committed relationship? Precisely how will this affect it? Probably not good. Alternative, you will give me $1,996 and I'll regard it as a donation. That's very kind. Charitable even. Then I will straight away eliminate your video recording. You can carry on life like nothing had ever happened. Of course, you'll make the payment via Bitcoin. And if you don't know how to do this, you can search how to buy Bitcoin in Google and then gave me the Bitcoin address. You have 48 hours to make payment. All right. Interesting. Clearly a scam. There are some interesting similarities here to what we do as marketeers. And that's what's happening in this email. In a moment, I'm going to show you the ingredients that what might typically look like in a marketing campaign. Firstly, it's direct and to the point. It built rapport. It said, I have good taste. It's clear value add, i.e. I can keep my dignity. It was helpful. It told me how I could buy Bitcoin. And there was a clear call to action. I just needed to pay $1,996 now. Really, this is the formula we all want to employ in our marketing. Don't we want to be direct? Building rapport is really important. We should always show value and definitely have a clear call to action. Now, the only thing that's missing maybe is the follow-up. And this was it. Second email I received. Subject, do not ignore me. Do you really think this was some kind of joke and you could ignore me? I can see what you're doing. Stop shopping and looking around. Your time is almost over. I know what you've been doing the last couple of days. I've been observing you. By the way, nice car you've got there. Now, This is where I thought, definitely a scam. Well, apart from the other stuff as well. Now, at the time, I didn't actually own a car, but then I remembered I had hired a car a few weeks prior for a really special occasion. It's this beast here. Yep, that's me, right at the front, clearly pretending to be Bruce Wayne or some other kind of super rich superhero. Maybe he had seen these photos. He continued, I wonder how it would look with pics of your dick and face. Great. Not good, I imagine. First thought that came into my mind. I'm posting the videos of you along with some of the details in the online forum because there's only one. If you don't send $1,000 of $1,000, so half price seems to be doing half price on blackmail these days. If you don't send $1,000 of Bitcoin in the next 2 days, I will contact your relatives, everybody in your contact list, and show them your recordings. He then gave me the Bitcoin address again. Better act fast, because right now you're fucked. That really is a clanger. Wouldn't it be amazing just to write any kind of marketing message that finishes with those kind of words? You need to buy our product because right now you are, well, maybe not in our lifetime. Let's look again at some of the similarities, some of the ingredients of this marketing campaign. So again, it was direct and to the point. It built rapport, so I had a nice car. There was clear value add, money in exchange for dignity, limited time limit offer, $1,000 in 2 days. And there was a clear call to action to send Bitcoin. Just updating that. Remember the classic. I give you value and you give me money. It's all there in that scam message. It wouldn't matter if it was an email, messenger, WhatsApp, or DMs. There are stories and stories of scams going all through social media and all with the same premise. Now, I do joke a little. It's clear that in this example, there are only a very, very few gullible people that will actually fall for it. It's not really these kinds of messages that I'm advocating that we should all stop sending. It's the ones that fit squarely into what I call the grey zone. So how do we tell the difference? It's harder than we think because the ingredients of a scam are actually somewhat similar to unethical marketing, and there is a spectrum. On one side, we have questionable social media posts, and on the other, we have a complete scam. Would it surprise you to know that these two things aren't that far off? And often the difference is really our own beliefs. So it's right here that we begin to struggle. Sometimes it's just a gut feeling that something's wrong or not quite sure about something. Maybe we haven't done our due diligence and been negligent to the fact. Now, this does not mean that we are not complicit. Let's take a look at these. So you remember the stores that always seemed to say they were closing down and give this kind of false sense of a great offer. Now on screen now, as opposed from Georgia Harrison, suggesting or inferring that something may not have necessarily been the case. She's promoting weight loss gummies and with a post copy and text to say that these have squashed her hunger, prevented unhealthy snacking, and inferring that these have helped her look the way that she does here. Now, I would consider this to be unethical. It promotes a product that I'm not sure this content creator actually believes in, although I couldn't prove that, and infers that this product may have led to look the way that she does, but maybe very soon before she looked exactly the same. This one you've probably heard of, Lauren Goodger, who promoted coffee that she claimed led to massive weight loss. In fact, when she was secretly filmed about this, she admitted she had not tried the product at all. Influencers content creators do need to make money somehow. I understand that, but no. Believe that, and we'll give ourselves an excuse to do anything. Ethics must always be above the need to make money. Remember when Tesco used bright yellow pricing stickers to present a great deal? Well, you can do the maths in this one. Promoting a product, yes, but you've been sucked in to think that this was some kind of offer and then it was legit. Actually, behind the scenes, something else is going on. There is no real offer, and it's all about kind of making money. Let's take a look at this next slide. You'll see here 2 US influencers, content creators from the US TV show The Bachelor. Jared in this picture has used a service called CertaPet, and he has certified his pet to become what's called in the US an emotional support animal. And it gives freedoms like being able to take pets on board that help you reduce anxiety as a flyer. Great. Thanks, Jared, for a nice shout out. And then this, the infamous discount code. What he's promoting, emotional support animals, are truly important to many people. But is all of this ethical? Because initially we're sucked in to believe one thing, whereas maybe the truth, which is about making money, becomes the reality. I think we all know about the Dove advert. Now this, what we're looking at here, was posted on Facebook. We've got a 4-panel image and it's showing a black woman removing her top to reveal a white woman beneath, supposedly after using the Dove body lotion. Now, according to Dove, this was to show diversity in real beauty, but it evoked strong emotions and it got a lot of attention. This is the crux of it. Marketing is about getting attention, but should we get it like this? I've seen plenty of ads on social media that seem to evoke these kinds of strong emotions just to get attention. They're simply put forward as marketing fails, and Unilever will make an apology, and everything is kind of okay. And that's what we're led to believe. But how many rounds of approval does a company like Unilever, who owns Dove, need to go through before we see any of the marketing messages that hit TV, that hit broadcast, hit radio, hit social, hit the web, whatever? I imagine a lot of approval processes. So I don't want us to be fooled. In my opinion, these are carefully comprised for maximum exposure and attention. These were put together, these were conceived by CMOs, marketing directors, PR consultants, social media managers. And this is where we have responsibility in a situation to say no. We do have influence at that level, because I don't want to confuse attention for marketing. It's just not ethical. One last little one is my kind of pet peeve. These are dishonest outcomes: share baiting, vote baiting, engagement baiting. We know what happens when a reaction is recorded against an ad. And on this one, for example, like this if you're an Aries, love this if you're a Leo. I'm not quite sure that that's all their intention at all. If you are doing this, Facebook's algo hasn't already picked you up. It's probably time to change. Now, when I was doing sort of research into what unethical marketing was, I thought best place to go is Google. Take a look at this featured snippet. It does clear up a lot, makes it quite understandable. Ethical marketers, they sympathize with emotions. Unethical ones exploit them, invoking rage, sadness to manipulate consumer decisions, tricking consumers into buying a product or a service. Let's talk ethics. We've seen a lot of unethical marketing, but what is ethical marketing? So these are the big takeaways. Ethical marketing is about truth and it's about transparency. We need to bring about these principles in all of our marketing. And I'm not talking to you guys as content creators. I'm talking really to us as social media strategists, consultants who advise our clients and companies who post on social, because it's our job to educate them, to encourage them to do the right thing. This is the kind of influence I was talking about before. So be transparent. First big takeaway. If it's an ad, say it's an ad, or if it's been gifted, don't use crazy clickbait. Avoid controversy just for attention. It's bad, it's risky, and we're better marketeers than that. Don't use fear tactics. Posts that can scare readers into reading further, to signing up to something, or even buy something is not honest, and it's certainly not ethical. Instead, we should work on gaining trust. We should become empathetic. We're all solving problems with our clients' products and services. Yep, they solve problems. So let's highlight instead the benefits. Big one here, fact check. It's so important. We don't want to make stats say something that they clearly don't say. We don't want to spread fake news just for shares. If it sounds weird, just do a bit of research and cite the source. Don't simply blindly share it. And there are plenty of fact checkers as well. We don't want to be one of these people. This is Lauren Goodger again. But his story is about where content creators didn't do their research on the products that they were willing to promote. So these Love Island and Towie stars were secretly filmed agreeing to promote a poisonous drink, identifying that they had no idea, or more importantly, didn't care about what's inside the products that they're willing to push towards their loyal followers. Opportunism is a challenge, especially in the light of COVID-19 issues. The big question is the marketing message aligned with the product? And is the content related to the product? Over the summer, I put together a video series. It was called Success Through Lockdown. The link is available on the screen now. And of the 8 videos, I did 2 of them where their success came through adding face masks to their product catalog. And both were running social ads to promote it. When I asked them about this, both answers were really clear. They had the manufacturing means and the know-how to create great products to a great standard. Additionally, the need for the product actually came from feedback from their existing customers, having already built a loyal customer base. So for them, that evolution into creating face masks was a good move. And this one, it's a big one, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because we've heard lots about it, certainly in the last sort of 2-3 years. The most important aspects of all kinds of marketing is protecting everyone's privacy and keeping identifiable data safe. It's really simple. The last one, really important, what I call the litmus test, is being able to answer yes to this question. Would you buy from your clients? Would you buy the products that they're selling? Would you hire the client to do this work for you, assuming that you had the need and the money? Big question. All this is great. And hopefully you're filled with some energy and gumption to do the right thing certainly if you're not. I trust that you already are. Only that will matter when we actually have to say no to a client. When we're in a meeting across a table or over Zoom and saying, I can't work with you. When you have to tell a client this isn't right and you don't want to be a part of it. Being ethical when it matters. This is a story of how my agency, lost a client. I'll finish with this. Here's a bit of background. The client was an online will writing service, and the idea was really simple. You log in, you put in your details, and you pay your £25. The will was written for you, it was automated, and it was stored. When it came to marketing it, our objective was this. Our cost per acquisition, how much our client was willing to spend to acquire a sale, was £50. But their sale value was £25. Was this a mistake? Are they selling something for 25, but it's costing them 50 to acquire? What wasn't so clear that was written into the will that upon the death of the deceased, 4% of their deceased estate was going to go to this company in order to execute the will. Let's do some quick maths. So, average house price last year was about £405,000. 4% of that is just over £16,000. That's a lot. If you compare that to, say, a solicitor's fee, you're going to be paying, around sort of maybe even up to £600. The difference in amounts between the solicitor's fees and what this company was going to take is 27 times difference. And that is huge. So why did people use the service? It's the classic. Small print. Detailed in the small print, the deciding factor as to whether or not you would pay for this service wasn't highlighted enough. Now, alarm bells began to ring when we saw reviews appearing in Google and when the press got on. This is when it was only £20 from This Is Money, an article on This Is Money talking about how this just seemed to scam people into using the service and then in the end paying tens of thousands of pounds. We looked inwards and realized that some fundamental principles had not been considered. We wouldn't use them. We wouldn't recommend them, and it didn't feel right. It had over 20 one-star Google reviews, and the big clanger was the 16 grand versus 600 for, well, the difference what people were paying. We were already learning our lesson on the importance of ethics at this point, but ultimately pulled the plug when we got an email saying this: we'd like you to fake social engagements, buy 5-star reviews, and assist in helping some distressed customers. Instead, we passed. And so did we pass on the thousands of pounds we were about to get in a monthly retainer. Stick to your values and your principles, even when they cost you money. That is taken straight out of Rand Fishkin's book, Lost and Found, a book I'd highly recommend. It does speak a lot about values and ethics. When you make a conscious commitment to be an ethical social media marketer, you work with the clients you love, doing the things you love, and next to the people that you love. My name is Ian Scott. You can find me there on Twitter. I'd love to hear from you and get all of your feedback, as honest and as truthful as you can. Thank you very much. You are live, Jade. Hi.
All into the app, looking for questions. Thank you so much. 1 minute, let me just find you on the call. How was that?
Great, thank you. I realized that maybe the chat is a little bit, well, actually our recordings stream is a little bit delayed. So the questions I was asking weren't going to turn up until about a minute later anyway. So I apologize to the guys who did put an answer in. I can see that. But thank you for participating.
So Anna said 2K. What? 1K? Priceless. I don't know what she's at the start of your session, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be willing to pay too much more than that for the lunch with Warren Buffett. But yeah, maybe if I had a spare couple of million, who knows?
Yeah, why not? Just slide in on Instagram or LinkedIn. I'm sure we'll be like, yeah, come over. Just bring a bottle of champagne and we'll,
Absolutely.
So right now there is no questions. There's just loads of great session. Everyone loved it. So absolutely right. Many big brands love to ruffle feathers just enough to create a buzz. And if it tops over, they'll apologise and manage perceptions with the entire PR machinery in full swing. Some top brands internally call it creating careful or constructive controversy.
Yeah, a big thing I just don't think is ethical, certainly around really sensitive topics. And that's not talked about enough. We do say attention is a great thing. All PR is good. All publicity is good publicity. But actually, I think we should look again at what is an ethical message to say, not just to stir up a conversation. So yeah, that's glad those guys agree.
Yeah, did you see in lockdown, the CEO and the founder of CrossFit actually put a tweet up that was considered extremely racist? Did you see?
I did see that, and I saw the fallout from it as well. And I'm not you've got to be careful what you put on on social. I wonder if that was a attention-seeking marketing fail, or whether or not he didn't really think about it. But I mean, if it was an attention-seeking marketing fail, then it really did fail, because, as I mentioned in the talk, doing stuff like that is super, super risky.
Oh yeah, and I think you have to consider
because
like so I do a lot of CrossFit, and like the whole community was in uproar. Like lots of affiliated boxes cancelled their membership, like across the world, and like even some competitors, like even like Tia-Clair Toomey, like number one in the world 3 times over, was like, I'm not competing at the games. Like, we will not stand for this. So yeah, that had a major backlash, and that wasn't even the brand itself. That was just, well, it was the CEO, but it wasn't on the CrossFit channels. It was on his own personal Twitter. So I think people need to be aware that it's not just the brands talking; it's the people behind the brands as well.
Absolutely, you've got to be careful. You're ultimately a guy that will represent, CrossFit, and at a time as well, which I'm sure many gyms and fitness are trying to get people back. So it's just insane. Never forget that you do represent, certainly that level, an organization and a brand. 100% agree.
The way they handled it was also really bad. Was really poor as well. Maybe they should have had a chat with you, or maybe you should have messaged them like, I'm here to help.
I think they needed big PR and what do they call it? Damage control, disaster recovery. I don't know. Crisis management. That's what they call it. Crisis management.
Yeah, that's the one. Well, thank you so much, Ian. Everyone absolutely loved the session. If anyone has any more questions for Ian, pop them in his section, and he'll come back and answer them at a later date. Thanks, Ian.
Pleasure. Thank you.
No worries.